Welcome to the Shared Desk, episode 106.
You'd be lost without me. Let's just be honest. You'd be
I
lost
literally
without
just
me.
told you it was episode 106.
You'd be lost without me. But you know, I mean,
You asked me twice.
you were
now you're pointing it to me. Lord have mercy. How long have we been doing this? 106 episodes.
106 episodes.
Actually, more than that.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is time once again for the Shared Desk. I am your host, T. Morris.
Do you want hobo goblins? Because this is how you get hobo goblins.
And sitting across from me, my beautiful better half,
Pip Valentine.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I thought you were ready. You've been sitting there with your hair up, and now you're gonna do this
I
L'Oreal
forgot about
thing. We are professionals, everybody. Professionals. As for audio, Steampunk Rick sporting off that new. That's Steampunk Rick, by the way. He completely changed his username in chat, so that he could just say, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna be Steampunk Rick.
Hey, Steampunk Rick.
And Tiger, hey, how you doing?
Hey,
It's great
Tiger.
to see everybody. It is episode 106 of the Shared Desk, and as you can tell, we are. Well, first off, we're breaking in the brand new studio look. Pip still got the white background, but as you can see in behind me, I'm rocking the dark green, and it was a DIY project, probably one of the last ones we have to do in the house. Do you think, honey?
I don't know. Probably.
We'll find.
I'm sure we can always find another one.
Yeah, we can always find another one. Nerd Girl, hey, how are you? First
Hey, Nerd
off, did want to say real quick, we were we both wanted to be sorry. If you were curious, baby, your camera's up there. We were very sorry that we did not have our fireside lore.
Yeah.
Last night.
It was not our fault. For once.
Would you believe it, though? Would you believe it? I made a fire.
Good fire.
And that fire would not quit. But man, the rain started coming down. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to be planning a makeup fireside lore. We might, and it's a big might. We might do it Halloween night.
We might
do it Halloween night. We're planning to do some horror movies with the kiddo, and then once we chill with the horror movies, then we're gonna go on ahead and we're gonna
That's cool. Let's watch a horror movie and then go outside in the dark.
tell ghost stories in the dark. I think it's a brilliant idea. And real quick, everybody, if you notice, there is a soundtrack in the background. We are, or I should say, I am on the beta testing team for a brand new piece of software called Soundtrack by Twitch. This is their solution for dealing with the DMCA takedowns that have been really hitting Twitch content creators hard, and this is their proposed solution. I'm on the beta testing team, so I'm giving it some feedback on it. I like it. I think their electronic station needs some work here. Fox, by the way, hey, good to see you, Fox. Didn't want that we missed you. But it does need a little bit of work. We could have an entire show about the DMCA, the good, the bad, the people who abuse it. But if you want to see a really good in-depth thing on that, Lindsay Ellis, big plug for Lindsay Ellis. She does an incredible breakdown of how the DMCA works and the aftermath of that show. Pretty outrageous, pretty fun to watch, and Lindsay, we're in your camp. We got your back. Because we believe in the power of authors. I'll stop there. I promise I'll stop there.
Go watch the video. I think I'll link to it in the show notes.
Oh, you will be linking to it.
So
in
you
there.
can find it.
Absolutely.
There are 2 videos, and it's quite
amazing.
drama llama.
What we're going to talk about, though, is something that we're going to be we're dealing with as content creators, and also as indie publishers as well. And Pip is going to be taking the driver's seat on this. Pip, we're here to talk about something that's going on at ACX, correct?
Yes. So let's just set the scene for you. So
Go for it.
We distribute through ACX exclusively, which means it goes on Amazon, it goes on Audible, it goes on iTunes.
Right.
They do those. About 4 days ago, logged on. I keep track of the Audible numbers, and suddenly there were about 15 books sales just disappeared. And I'm like, now I've had a couple of books. Sometimes, the odd 1 or 2 people, read the first little bit and they're like, I don't want this. I found out a lot more in the last few days about how Audible operates that perhaps if I had known, I might have made different choices for our Audible things.
Yeah.
So when you, as a listener, go and purchase a book through Audible, you have, get this, 365 days to return it.
That's it, man. Game over, man.
Yep,
Game
365 days. Oh, and it gets better. You could have listened to the whole book
Yeah.
and still return it. Mm-hmm. So what happened? They must have done some big adjustment on Audible 4 days ago, but people lost their mind. It was called the Audible Red Wedding.
Wait. They called it the
Some
Audible
people
Red
apparently
Wedding?
called it the Audible Red Wedding.
Hail to the king, baby.
That's ridiculous. Come on.
Well, some people, we lost maybe 10, 15 at the most. Some people lost more than that. Some people lost
Really?
50.
50 as in 5
Yeah.
0? Good gravy. That's
Yeah.
wow. I'm starting to see the ire of this whole. Well, okay,
Yeah.
so let's go on ahead and let's kind of now that Pip has set the scene. Let's talk about our perspective on this. Now, obviously, we don't even have if you put all of our titles together,
We have 21 titles.
we
on
have
Audible.
no. I have 20 titles. I have over 20 titles to my name.
No, I'm
Just
talking about
mine.
on Audible.
On Audible, we just have 20, right? No, that's not 50 sales, Steampunk Ray. That's 50 titles. Some
No.
people-
It's sales.
So
It's
wait,
sales. This is money.
We've lost 50 sales.
No.
right.
That's other people.
Oh, other people lost up to 50
we
sales.
lost 10 sales.
All right.
Now, that doesn't sound like a lot.
No, it's a lot. No,
But
it's a
you're
lot.
not just making a couple of dollars on an audiobook.
No.
You're probably making $2 or $3, $4 on a book.
Which is substantially more than you make off of print
You
sales.
get more per
Right.
unit off a sale, which you should as well, because, I mean, if you're talking one of our books, that's like 9, 12, 13 hours of audio that we've created. So yeah, people, when it's $2, $3, $4 per unit and they've just lost 50 units overnight, that gets people's attention.
Yeah. And the thing is that you got to look at it from our perspective. Is that we have a few titles and on Audible. We like being on Audible. Don't get us wrong. We do like being on Audible.
We get more money out of our Audible books than we do out of print, for example.
Yes. Now, one of the nice things though about our position as authors, as indie authors, and I'm not going to make any bones about it. As pretentious as some people think the term content creator sounds, one, I'll take it way over an influencer any day. Any day.
Yeah.
More of that,
And
please. More of that, my girl.
but I will also say that as a content creator, I mean, let's be honest. Pip and I were content creators before it was cool calling yourself a content creator.
We're just writers.
And yeah, well, no, we were writers and we were podcasters.
Yeah.
And I think the problem was that people wanted to come up with it was cool to say you're a podcaster. It was cool to say it was really cool to say you're a writer. But when you say that you're a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber, especially that term YouTuber,
Yeah.
you kind of got that look of like, really? And so I really believe that the community came up with a different term, and that term was content creator. And it is, yes, content creator does sound a lot better than influencer. And that's a topic for another time, I'm sure. I could probably do an entire blog post on that. But the thing about being
being a content creator encompasses more because
Oh, it does.
covers we're doing podcasting, we're doing
writing,
writing,
we're doing videos, we're doing all that stuff.
Twitching,
Yeah, we're
Twitch
twitching.
streamers.
I mean, we're doing all that, and that's fine. That's
so
great.
it's sort of an umbrella term.
But the thing is that the advantage that Pip and I have over being, I guess you could call us early adopter content creators, is that because of this podcast experience that we have. I mean, look at the rigs we've got set up here. I mean, we've got all the gear, and we've rigged out and tricked out our downstairs. This used to be the bedroom of my mother-in-law once upon a time, and it is now a studio. It is now a full-on studio, complete with soundproofing and otherwise.
And all the microphones.
And all the microphones
Every
you would
microphone.
need to make a balling audiobook with. So a lot of the cost that goes into making an audiobook for us is eliminated All that we have to do is invest in the time.
Oh, well, you should also point out that both of us have had vocal training.
That
so
too.
Many authors don't have that, and
Many
perhaps they
authors do not
don't
have
want
that.
to do it,
No.
and it's a whole other skill set.
But it's very different. But what's happening here with people suddenly losing sales on ACX is very different. Pip, you want to continue on that?
Yeah, so I just wanted to sort of explain that when you first sign up with ACX, they give you a pretty sweet deal. They give you 40% of sale, the revenue earned from your audiobook, which is pretty sweet. And in return for that, they ask for a 7-year exclusive contract, which means you cannot go anywhere else. You cannot offer it on your website, for example. Right. You can't sell it to any other outlet for 7 years.
Right.
And sort of at the beginning when we first started back in, I think our first title was 2014, did I say? Yeah, 2014.
You were saying
was Ministry Protocol.
The Ministry Protocol
was our first ever audio project.
We alternated on reading different short stories, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So that project won't be available to change until August next year.
Okay.
That'll be 7 years.
7 years.
So at the time, I was like, "That's cool. 40% looks good,
yeah,
right?
40%, yeah, 40% looks
40%
great.
40% sounds fine.
You don't get that usually. Like when it comes to making print sales, and this is why you'll sometimes notice, especially on other social media platforms, you'll see authors really pushing their books, and also on YouTube, as we saw with another video that Lindsay was talking about. When you've got a book out, you'll notice that some YouTube personalities and some Twitch personalities will push that book because we're making maybe a dime to a quarter off of every sale.
Depends on what. Well,
it depends on the contract. It does depend on the contract.
If you're talking about big New York publishing, yes,
that's
you're making
different.
25, 30 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, we make more on our indie press, but we don't have the distribution. So
it's a give and take.
It's a give and take.
But when you're with a major publisher, or you're with a major, or even when you're with an indie publisher, and they say we're gonna, put out your book on audio, and you're getting 40% off that sale. I mean, that was because once upon a time, and I do want to stress that once upon a time, chat. When you got audiobooks, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about 6, 7 cassettes, or 2 or 3 CDs,
that sort of thing.
But then came the advent of streaming audio. And suddenly, it became way easier and way less expensive to create audiobooks.
Yeah. So the book that we put out with them in 2014, back in 2014, Audible was just starting to get but
momentum.
over the last 3 years, Audible has just grown and grown as
exponentially.
a lot of people are listening. When we get back to the usual of actually driving in cars somewhere,
commuting to work, things like that. Yeah.
Audible books will take back off again. People love audio, so signing that contract back in 2014, I don't regret, but. Now with these latest changes, the fact that people are returning books a lot, the fact that I would understand if they said, okay, if you've read 50% of the book, less than 50% of the book,
because you can track
return
that.
it.
Yeah, you can track that.
Yeah,
you can track that.
Return that.
But
if you've read the whole book or even more than half the book,
and you're returning it, and you're basically not even saying, I mean, it's one thing if you say,
it's like going to a restaurant and eating the whole steak dinner, clearing your plate, and then going, I didn't like it.
That was crap. I'd like my money back.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, when plus you basically cannot hear a podcast without an ad for Audible. That's very true, Nerd Girl. That's very true. But here's the thing about this weird policy from ACX. The problem is that, and this is going back to my days when I was waiting tables. If you ate even 75% of the meal and said, this is a terrible steak, or this is a terrible chicken dish, or what have you,
I want my money back.
I would go back to the manager and say, I have a problem on table XYZ. And they'll go back, and if the manager is standing there going, look, you've eaten 75% of your meal, I can give you a discount, and that's it. And you would have people that get pissy about it, but a decent manager would say, look, if you've taken 2 bites of your meal and you're saying it's terrible, that's one thing. But if you're saying after you've eaten 75% or even all of the meal, and I had that happen to me before. I had it happen to me before where the plates have been cleared and they'll go, I'd like to speak to the manager. And I go, okay, Karen. And then I take the plates back. I would say 4 out of 5 of those times, it would be, sadly, I really wasn't happy with the meal and I really wasn't happy with the service. And most of the time, the managers I would have would, well, let me flip that. On the minority side of the page, a lot of managers would say, I can comp you half of this meal, or I can comp you a dessert.
Yeah.
But you've eaten most of the meal. There's nothing I can do. And but the majority of the managers would be like, okay, well, not only will we comp it, we'll throw in a dessert, which would mean that my tip, if it was like a $50 bill, I'd probably get $2 for a tip. But the problem is that the manager's attitude would be like, we want these people to come back. And I'm like, these people aren't going to come back. They're not. And if they do, they're going to try to get a different server because they're going to pull the same shtick on somebody else. What's worse with Audible is they're not only saying we're returning the book, but we're also taking the sale away from the author. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and the other,
and then Audible doesn't Audible say like, well, we'll make it up to you. Here's some credits back for a new book.
Basically, yeah, you can return the book and you get your credits back, or you just choose another book. So, but they say, well, we are tracking if you do it too much, but there's no.
Oh, please. How tough is, let me rephrase that. How tough is it to create a brand new account?
Yeah.
And then just say, oh, I'm a new Audible, derp, derp, derp. I mean,
Yeah.
This is it. And what makes this situation even worse, chat, is that this only screws the author. ACX still gets credit. They still get the sale. And it's the author that suffers in the long run.
Well, it's not so bad for you and I because, as you said, we put time in, which is still worth something. But
Right.
there are authors out there who can't do what we do in the production sort of side of things, and so they're paying like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per book to get it done. So in that case, they're shouldering all the cost.
Right.
ACX Audible has got no skin in the game as far as that concerns.
They're just there.
I guarantee you, if they were paying even a portion of the production costs, then they would have a much less generous return.
ACX would be like, well, it's sad that you're returning this book.
Yeah.
But you've listened to 75% of it, and the only reason anybody should return an audiobook is if either A, within the first 25%, they go, this is not the book that I want.
Yeah.
Or B, I'm 20% into the book and it won't play on my reader or something like that. Then you just go on ahead and you're absolutely right, Nerd Girl. These folks do. What it is, it's people gaming the system.
Yeah.
It is people gaming the system. They know that they can get free. If there's one thing I have learned about the internet in the, boy, am I going to date myself.
Don't count too much.
In the 25 plus years that I have worked with the internet, I'm dating myself. I learned Adobe PageMill, and that taught me how to do website design. Thank you very much. But if there's one thing I have learned, especially after the golden age of podcasting, if you put it online, or if you are online and you're creating some kind of content, people expect it for free. It's the same, and it's something I'm seeing. Even just to put it into an analogy, it's even happening with Twitch. The streamers that tend to get larger audiences are the ones that are doing some kind of service for free. There are people that will do raid helps. There are people that will do hoarding helps. They'll do all that, and they'll say no charge. You come on in, you hang out, and yeah, exactly. Steampunk Rick nails it. Free stuff is fun when you're the one controlling some content.
We do giveaways, and we do
giveaways all the
sorts of things. That's
Absolutely.
different, but. Yeah, so...
But it's when you start gaming the system to get it for free.
And there's always a bunch of people that... But that entitlement of it's online, therefore I should get it for free. Yeah, but the problem is Audible should be stepping in and putting some...
Absolutely.
Some limits, some percentage, you don't expect to go and buy a book. Remember when we used to go to bookstores?
Bookstores.
You didn't go to buy a book,
that, chat?
love the book,
Bookstores?
get to the end, hate the ending,
Coffee
go
shops?
back to the bookstore and say, look, I hated the ending of this book. Can I get my money back?
And the answer would be no. You take that up with the author, or you send hate mail to the author. We've gotten that, and we're just like, hey, but you know what? You bought the book, and thank you for buying the book. That's great. That is great. But there is a point when you're gaming the system, and unfortunately, the system is set up where you really can't track that. You would have to have somebody really on the ball at Audible. They'll be like, hey, this new account that's just coming in is coming from the same IP address as this person.
They can't be bothered doing
They're not
that.
going to go down that. They're not going to go down that far into the rabbit hole.
This is another point. So I noticed that happened 4 days ago, but then there was this other author called Felicity Heaton,
right,
who wrote a big post about it, and she was talking about this, and she pointed out one thing that was really important. No author consented to this.
Nope.
No author was told, by the way...
Now, hang on a minute, though. Hang on. I guarantee you, though, the reason why Audible is doing this is because there might be some doublespeak in the terms of service. There
could be some terms of service
which goes back
there.
Again to
read your
always read
I will
your
have to
terms
dig
of
into
service.
that, and I will put that in the show notes when I dig into it. But yeah, she quotes in her public post, so I'm not speaking out of turn. She said she spent $50,000 producing audiobooks, and from that she's earned back $35,000. So
she's looking at a loss.
She's already in the hole,
right.
and
now
here comes the crunch of it. If you like audiobooks and this continues to happen, and authors keep feeling like they're getting screwed over, especially those who have to pay money,
and
they're not going to do it.
And not just authors, publishers. If the publishers get wind, and because
that's my question. Does HarperCollins and
guaranteed, honey,
are they getting the same problems? Are they getting books returned?
I guarantee you they
indies?
are. I guarantee you they are. And the problem is that the biggest penny pinchers, and this is not a complaint. This is just the way things are in the publishing industry. When it comes to pinching pennies, publishers can be really the worst people, because they're going to look at it and they're going to go, wow, we're bleeding money. Where is it? And when they look at the returns and also this is another deterrent. If they're seeing returns from particular authors' books, they're going to be like, why are we investing in this author?
Yeah. So,
and it goes back. It's almost like what's happening with Audible right now. It's almost a weird form of piracy. It's not even piracy. It's straight up theft.
Yeah.
It's straight up. It's a straight up grifter game. I mean, this is basically. This is people gaming the system so they can get free books. But what they don't realize is that if they keep that up, bigger publishers are going to be like, hey, look, all of these authors are getting their books returned.
Yeah.
So we're not going to back these authors anymore. We're going to find people hang on, because they want people to hang on to those books.
It will have a flow on effect. There's in the comments of this lady Felicity's post, there's another author who said, after 42 audiobooks, I stopped producing them because of ACX whole lending library of my titles.
Yeah.
She was just getting nothing back from having all these books.
And it really shouldn't. And the thing is, if someone's returning the book, it really shouldn't fall on the author. It should fall on the distributor. It should fall on Audible.
Oh, well, if that was happening, they would definitely have a different policy.
Yeah, they'd an entirely different policy.
So, because of that, I'm thinking of another option for us, which is not to be exclusive on Audible. So when you get exclusivity, you get 40%, right? But you get 25% if you are non-exclusive.
Which is still better.
Which is still better. I mean, you can still log on. You can still sell your audiobook on your website. Gumroad, which we use for our distribution, has an audio component that you can just download it straight from there.
Right.
You could put it, theoretically, we could, start a Patreon with it. You could do your own, you can sell it on iTunes yourself, all of those sort of things.
So
I'm pretty tempted to make it wide.
So along with that as an option of not, there's got to be a trade-off though. It can't just be at 40%. You're getting this much, but if you don't go exclusive, it's 25%. Has there been any discovery about, say, the algorithms of where you show up in a search? Is it possible that if someone did a search for steampunk, would the ministry protocol or even the Books and Broad dossier, would that show up in searches higher in the hit rates than, say, something that was an Audible exclusive?
That I don't know. However, you can still upload your audio to Amazon. It'll still be on Amazon. So Amazon's the big seller about it.
Amazon's Amazon's the big seller.
So
I'd be curious as to what's the stuff that is not necessarily hidden, like, because people are going to be like 25%, that beats 0%, so I'm going to go ahead and go with an exclusive. But there's got to be a few other perks.
Well,
I would imagine anyway.
So I was looking into that, what the advantages of being exclusive to ACX. Obviously, there's the reach. Audible, Amazon.com, and Apple Books. But you're going to still be on Audible. They might hide you might not get, like, if someone goes in and searches for steampunk on Audible, you might be lower down the list. But
there's been something, this is something I have always had a thing about when it comes to, and this is on topic, but it's a perk that I don't think a perk is really that important. And the perk is chat being seen or having better algorithms on Amazon. Let me explain. People are not going to find our books if they do a search for steampunk. People are not going to find our books if they do something on social media. But if they do a search for Pip Ballantyne or T. Morris, those books pop up straight away. Mm-hmm. And it's because when people do a generic search, they're just kind of shooting the moon. Which is why when people ask me, especially when I'm online with Twitch or otherwise, I'm the first one to say, going ahead, and I don't say Google steampunk, I say Google my name, Google T. Morris, and my works will pop up straight away. Versus if I told people, if you want to find out more about my books, search under steampunk, search under podcasting. And Tiger's absolutely right. They're going to go with the most popular hits first. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the advantages I have is that if you did a search under Amazon for podcasting, one of the things that pops up is, shocker, podcasting for dummies. So usually something like that will pop up. But the thing is that being exclusive, the exclusivity thing doesn't mean a thing if somebody specifically searches your name. And I would say to anyone that's looking to get published or people who are interested in publishing, before searching for somebody's book in their genre, look for their name first
and see what they're doing.
That's usually going to be the better option for you.
Okay, so I wanted to point out that there are actually a couple of downsides of Audible, not just this red wedding situation.
Now I'm seeing Filch sitting up there, smiling as what was it, the Reigns of Castamere?
Yeah,
are playing in the background. Go ahead.
Well, one is you can't choose your list price for an Audible book. I don't know how they decided. I think it's based just on length,
right?
And they'll just plop you into a sort of a category, and so you're not choosing that yourself. The other is availability, and this is interesting because you've got to be in the UK, the US, Canada, or Ireland. That's it. That's the only people who can access ACX.
So wait a minute. So you mean that even if you've got exclusivity, they don't give you global?
Nope.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
it's a very limited. You're absolutely right, Tiger. That is a very limited range.
Oh, okay. Yes, I could actually. So I was looking into this, and apparently the contract is a 7-year contract, but after 6 months or a year or so, you can actually ask to be let out of it.
Interesting.
So some of the books that we have there, I could experiment with and take out. For example, sell them on our Gumroad.
She's getting experimental, chat. Giggity.
Okay. Sorry about that.
You have to be able to do that when you're a
Game
hybrid
over,
author.
man. It's game over.
That's one of the advantages of being a hybrid author.
Hey.
So, I don't know. I think maybe we should look into that, especially with the, we have people all over the world who would like to hear our audiobooks, and if
Absolutely.
they're trapped behind the Audible barrier, then
Yeah, Steampunk Rick says, audio brought me to you guys via Tales from the Archives, and then into the novels, and from there in print, and now he listens
what
to
a
us in audio.
circuitous route. Yeah, and you know what? If you were not in the US, if you were like in Singapore or somewhere, apparently you couldn't follow that trail.
No, but you could at least listen to
You
Tales
can
from the
listen.
Archives.
You can listen to Tales from the Archives, of course, but if you wanted to get the audiobooks, oopsie.
Well, but again, I mean, not to single you out, Rick, but Steampunk Rick is one of those. He's one of those fans that he heard about us through the podcast that we were able to distribute for free.
Yeah.
And that free audio led Steampunk Rick to the novels, and then from the novels, it led to audiobooks. And I mean, that would be that to us is the perfect trail. We gave away something for free.
That's exactly how we planned it.
That's how. Yeah. I mean,
Our cunning plan worked.
Yes.
I mean,
More
it's true.
Of that, please. More of that.
The
Margot.
idea of the podcast was it was a free introduction to our world that would lead to the books, and then the books lead you to other venues like audio and otherwise. One of the other things though that we try to do with the podcast was that Tales from the Archives was really a thank you gift for the people who were there from the beginning. So that when people who read the books were like, wow, that was a great read, we could say, well, there's also the podcast. And like, what podcast? And then people find out, oh my God, there's a podcast. And Nerd Girl chimes in, I heard about you guys on the League of Steam podcast, which led me to the archive, which led me to the books, and now you got us in multiple forms. And
Chasing the Bard.
yeah,
Oh,
Cat's
my-
a long time
A
fan.
hot minute. It's been like a hot decade, I think. Ugh.
But actually, Nerd Girl, I'm going to come back to the League of Steam maybe in post show because we still have a little bit more to talk about. So Pip, more
So
about this.
I'm leaning towards after this because it was a bit of a shock, I must say, when I woke up in the morning and was like, hold on, where did those sales go?
Yeah, where did those sales go?
'Cause right now
that's
we're
never a way
dependent
you
on
wanna-
sale.
That is never a way you want to start, a day. You never
Yeah.
want to start a day like that.
And let's face it, right now that money is very helpful.
Yeah.
Um,
Right now.
So, yeah, I'm thinking that what I might end up doing is probably contacting ACX and asking to be let out of our contract on one of the titles. Ministry Protocol has been there for 6 years.
Right.
So if we could get let out of that, I will experiment with it. I'll probably put it on our website as an audiobook file, because you can actually take all the MP3s of your audiobook and crush them together and make an audiobook. There is a app for that.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And then we could just sell it on our website, and we can choose what price we want to set it at.
So, in the closing argument about this, what would you say, as a takeaway from this entire experience? Do we still have more to learn, or is this something that we gotta keep an eye on?
I think it's all like when you're a hybrid creative, then you've really got to keep
A
your
hybrid content creator.
hybrid content creator.
An HCC.
You got to put your keep your finger on the pulse and just make sure things that are happening. Join different sort of Facebook. I wouldn't have found. I thought I was just going crazy. Then I saw it on the Facebook group, and I was like, hold on. So you've got to have your finger on the pulse. Keep in touch, or at least cruise through various writers groups, see what the chatter is about, and just be prepared to adapt if things go awry.
It goes back to something that I mentioned it's actually tying back to Soundtrack by Twitch. I was writing about the relationship between the DMCA, the RIAA, Spotify, and Twitch, and I was talking about and when I was writing Twitch for Dummies, I did a deep dive into the terms of service. I did a deep dive into discussions online. I did a deep dive in all these different forums where they were talking about what can I play without violating any copyright laws? And it was a real gray area. And that was what I discovered. It was that there was just sort of a barely a gentleman's handshake that was saying, we're going to look away. And we're just going to trust that you all have this music playing in the background, and it's no big deal.
Right?
And we're all good. Everything will be fine, and everything's copacetic. Then suddenly the DMCA started flying.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
And what it was that it went back to what, because as I'm writing about all this, I said I can't just end it with it's a gray area, but we're cool now, okay, Marcellus, we're cool right now. Instead, I ended it with the very ominous phrase, that relationship could change at any moment, and here we are. We are now at this point. So the takeaway I would say to writers out there would be, keep it, as Pip said, keep an eye not only on the pulse of what's happening in your industry, but also keep an eye on your terms of service. Because remember, that's a living document, and it could change at any moment. And thank you for those biddies. Do appreciate it. Thank you so much for those. I appreciate it. So now we get to the segment. Hold on a second. Just going to throw this in here as a marker. We're gonna edit this. You're gonna drop in the writers off the clock.
I'm going to edit it.
Because that's what you do. Because I've got another podcast to edit, which is going to be recording yesterday.
So this is my baby.
Yeah, okay. All right, here we go.
As you were.
The magic of recording live. So with writers on the clock, here's what I thought I would talk about.
Oh, you got it.
I want to talk about the family.
Oh my god!
I want to talk about the family. I want to talk about the Sopranos.
Oh my gosh.
Tony! You take a knife, stab me in the heart. I'm gonna let Pip again take the lead on this, okay?
I don't know why we started.
No. I don't know why you started it.
Blaming me.
Yes, you.
It's not my fault.
Yes, it is.
You frightened the cat with your Sopranos impersonation.
It's never your fault, Tony. It's always me. I'm the villain here. Go. Oh, Carmela.
I mean.
So here's what. Okay. So here's what. Here is.
You're gonna do it in your Jersey accent.
I just might, Carmela. What are you gonna do? You don't understand the pressures I'm under. God, it just happens so easily now. We're watching. All right. So we have this AT&T service because of our mobile phones. We're an iPhone family, so we got AT&T as our carrier. And one of the things we get with AT&T with this AT&T
yeah, you
service,
get a free premium channel.
Yeah. So, and the channel we got is HBO, because when it comes to a backlog of content, it's really hard to beat HBO. You know, it's got 7 out of 8 really good seasons of Game of Thrones. It's got Fahrenheit 451 with Michael Shannon and Michael B. Jordan, which we haven't watched yet.
It's got also quite a lot of good movies that come.
Great movies you can watch.
Since we can't go to the movie theater.
Yeah, but then it's also got The Sopranos, and I mean when it comes to water cooler television, and if you've never heard that term before, that's basically what they say is that.
People are talking around the water cooler.
Remember
when we used to have water coolers?
Remember we used to have water coolers?
offices.
Yeah. So
now it's probably Zoom water.
Yeah.
TV?
Pre-Zoom meeting conversations. But The Sopranos really was the first ever water cooler TV, and Pip started. Why did you even start rewatching The Sopranos?
I just wanted to watch something good in the background while I was doing the dishes or whatever.
Was it shortly after we watched Fear City?
It was probably prompted by watching Fear City.
So this may not come as a surprise to many of you, but I have a deep-seated fascination and a deep-seated love for anything mob history.
The Godfather.
The Godfather. I should rephrase that. Godfather 1. Goodfellas, anything Scorsese's directed. You're talking about,
Does Heat count as a mob movie?
Heat should count as a mob movie. That's an epic crime drama, but it's got a mob.
It's got an organized.
It's got an organized crime kind of feel about it. What? Neither of you have ever seen The Godfather? I mean, The Godfather is one of those staples of cinema. Mm-hmm. And when you watch it, you go, oh, this is why people rave about The Godfather so much. I see you there, Miko. I see you there, Miko.
Places where people work together? I don't know. Sounds fake.
I mean, the why? Yeah. Oh, now British gangster movies. I mean, you had me at Snatch. You had me at Snatch. But then there's, you got movies like that. I mean, there's so much good. But then there's The Sopranos.
Yeah.
And I mean, before The Sopranos, all TV movie, or rather all TV series, if you think about it, most TV series, if not all TV series, all dealt with the mob from the takedown POV.
Yeah.
You were always dealing with the FBI.
You got to see all the, the shooting and the planning and the
It was mainly
conniving.
The Untouchables, it was The Untouchables or it was Wise Guy. But then comes along The Sopranos. And when you look at The Sopranos, it is a masterclass in complicated character development.
Yes. And
there is
nobody the first real
anti-hero.
Good anti-hero.
Yeah, the first anti-hero that people really rallied around.
Oh, the guy who was in who played Walter White. He said without Tony Soprano, there's no Walter White.
Yeah. That actor. I'm blanking on his name.
Bryan Cranston.
Thank you, Bryan Cranston.
Ha!
There you go.
That's one of the first times I've ever actually remembered an actor's name before you.
There you go. Well done.
I'm going to write that down.
You should.
Today's date.
But I mean, the thing that for me, part of what kept, I was not even watching this. I came in, I think Pip was in the middle of season 2 or season 3. And I just happened to come in and I was just going to try to work on something in the background while The Sopranos was on. And I just felt myself getting... and suddenly I was like... They
pull you in!
Yeah, once I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And the last time I remember watching The Sopranos, and before anybody says anything, yes, I saw the final episode of The Sopranos, but the last Sopranos episode I remember tracking with and watching was one where it ends with Junior Soprano singing an opera aria and Meadow getting drunk and running out in the street. It was a really weird...
I can't remember which one...
That was the end of season 3. That was the end of season 3. So, but now I am now completely sucked in, and I really believe that part of the appeal is that you see these characters no longer... When you watch The Godfather, it is very polished. All of these mobster characters, they would not be considered tropes. But when The Godfather came out, no one had ever seen a movie like that, like to that depth, where you saw the internal struggles, where it wasn't they were the bad guys versus Elliot and Ness or anything like that. Now we were looking at the mob through the family itself and what made organized crime, and it's a brilliant piece of filmmaking. And when you watch it, you're going to be like, if you're watching it now as a modern audience, you're like, wow, this is pretty cliche. But remember, cliches.
It set up the cliches.
Exactly. That was the proto.
That's the original meme.
That's the original meme. Yeah, that's where the meme starts from. But what makes The Sopranos great is that you see these mob characters not only at their best,
but also their worst.
But at their worst.
And their stupidest sometimes.
Case in point.
Pettiest.
Case in point. Paulie Walnuts.
The guy with the wing hair.
With the wing hair. Yeah, the guy with the wing hair. And Chris, a.k.a. Chrissy. Everybody calls him Chrissy. Even though he is a made man and he is one of the captains, Chrissy is the heir apparent should anything happen to Tony. Right? And these two basically get mixed up when Paulie decides to mix it up with a low level Russian
for absolutely no reason.
For no reason except other than he dislikes him. And Paulie is very old school, so he picks a fight with this guy and then
beats him up.
They think they've killed him.
It's the middle of the day, so they can't drop him off in the ocean or whatever.
So what does Paulie say? Paulie says, "Yeah, we'll take him out to the woods,
to the Pine Barrens,
to the Pine Barrens. We'll take him out to the Pine Barrens. We'll go to the Pine Barrens and we'll just have we'll bury him there.
Oh, it's winter and there's snow on the ground.
Right. So winter, snow on the ground, and they go on ahead and they take him out
to an area they don't know.
They open the trunk. Russian guy is still alive.
Well, there's no surprises there.
So they basically get him. They're saying they're going to get him to dig his own grave, which is a very mob thing to do.
However, they have a tiny shovel.
They have an itty-bitty shovel. Chrissy is standing too close to the Russian. The Russian attacks Chris.
The Russian, is in his pajamas.
Oh, he's in his pajamas, I should say, yeah. And in Russian, he's bragging. In the Russian, he is bragging about how this is summer weather for me. I'm not cold, and he's doing that in Russian. And they're like, shut the F up and start digging. And
it's one
so then the Russian attacks them, starts running.
And they're running through the snow.
They're running through the snow in street shoes. And Paulie gets a headshot in.
And they're like, oh, he's dead.
He's dead.
You're not dead.
They go running up there. They find the shovel. They find the trail of blood. And then it abruptly ends.
He's gone.
So now these two numbskulls are. Then they look around. They go, where are we? They are lost in the woods of the New York, New Jersey area, of the Pine Barrens of New York and New Jersey, in the middle of winter, and the guy that could finger them and get them in trouble and get Tony in trouble with the Russian mafia is gone.
And it's just
From there, I will not tell you anymore, other than hilarity ensues, and you realize just how unperfect these mafia types are, and it's that keeps me coming back.
Yeah, there's some you know what I like about it is it has those things that I enjoy in a story. It has like deep philosophical looks into the nature of human beings. It has moments of levity where you're just like, what a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And it's also got really complex characters that they're monsters and mobsters and stuff, but that's not all they are. They're nice to their mothers.
Yeah.
They care about their kids. You see different sides of them that point out that no human being is black and white.
That's right. Oh, and I should also mention too about The Sopranos, if you've never watched this series at all, it opens with this mob boss in therapy.
That's right. He's in therapy.
He is in therapy. He has a psychiatrist, and that has a subplot all its own. It is a multi-layered show, and it's what, 7 seasons, 8 seasons?
I think it's 6. I think it's 6 seasons.
And
see, I dropped off about season 4.
Yeah.
I remember bits of season 4, but after that, I don't really remember a
no
lot. So it's going to be interesting.
And no kidding, everybody, top notch talent. Near the end, Steve Buscemi joins the cast. Steve Buscemi has directed a couple of episodes at this point. You've got some geek favorites that show up. We just discovered that the guy who was in charge of the Belter movement during The Expanse, he shows up in a couple of episodes as one of AJ's teachers. Some incredible people show up in this show, so it is worth a watch. It is really
and
worth
actually,
a watch.
it is numbered. Generally speaking, some people reckon it's one of the best TV shows ever done.
And when you watch it, you'll see why.
Yeah, you'll see why. It's beautifully done. And you'll want to write a mob story or an organized crime story afterwards.
Probably.
It's part of my plan. I have a plan.
It's all part of the plan. Okay, everybody. Probably in the after show, I'll talk a little bit more about Heat, because you're talking about a movie that is very, very, very near and dear to my heart, Nerd Girl. Very near and dear to my heart. But just want to go ahead and close by saying thank you, everybody, for joining us. There is going to be a pre-show. Don't worry, there will be a pre-show. Post-show, because
I will edit that out.
And thank you. There will be a post-show where we just sit and hang with the audience. And The Dark Crystal is not what I would call organized crime film, though, Tiger. Not an organized crime film.
I do like that movie. But
great movie, but it's not organized crime. So yeah, we're going to go on ahead and wrap things up. So just want to say real quick, if you want to get in touch with us, you can always come here on the stream. That's twitch.tv/the-T-Monster. Go on ahead and make sure to pop in anytime. Give us a follow. Give us a sub. Feel free. You can also find us at 703-791-1701. You can use WhatsApp if you're an international, so you can drop us a text message or even a vocal message there, or just go ahead and leave a voicemail. You can also reach us at
pip@pjballantyne.com.
or you can reach me at t@tmorris.com. So thanks everybody for listening. Just remember, folks, that the shared desk is protected by a non-commercial, no derivative, Sure-like United States point license, and you can go on ahead and you can find out more about that license at creativecommons.org. So yeah, it's been a good time. Hope you've all been enjoying the show. On behalf of Pip and on behalf of myself, thank you so much for watching and thank you for listening. Enjoy the ride.
See you later.
Okay, and we are clear. And we are clear, everybody. Wow, that was a pretty tight show. I don't mind saying it.
Keep it tight, Channing.
Keep it tight, Channing. Keep it tight. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. This is the post show. This is where we...
Obviously, we're going to talk about movies.
Yeah, because, man, people are throwing out some...
Oh, Layer Cake is very... Layer
I've never
Cake.
seen Layer Cake.
You've never seen Layer Cake? We're
I
going to
told
put that
you
on the list.
Gotta put that on the list.
It is definitely Daniel Craig's audition for Bond.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Now, Layer Cake is not Guy Ritchie, right?
I don't think so.
It's got a Guy Ritchie vibe about it,
It's
but
got
it's not Guy Ritchie.
it's got a Guy Ritchie kind of vibe to it. But
Yeah, so before we start descending down the rabbit hole that is Heat, because Pip has seen me go down that rabbit hole. Got to tell you a quick story though about League of Steam and Nerd Girl. I think it is so funny that you bring that up because I was thinking about these guys and I was thinking, no, this is the post show, Marv. This is the post show where we just hang out with everybody. So I think it's, and by the way, hey Marv. But I think that is so funny, Nerd Girl, that you bring that up because I was thinking about them, and I was thinking about sort of the dual side of fame, right? And just hear me out. So our agent was doing us we were doing a big tour. If I remember correctly. She had arranged a big tour at the time for Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences for the very first book, Phoenix Rising. And she pings us and she goes, I got you guys an interview with the League of Steam. And both Pip and I were we just held our breaths because we were like, oh my God, it's the League of Steam. I mean, we were huge fans of League of Steam. We were this was like the biggest steampunk interview we had ever done at this point. And we were terrified. And I won't forget this. I will never forget this. Pip, tell them what you told me.
What?
You've forgotten?
I've forgotten what you're talking about.
Oh my God. Okay, so now Pip gets to just react.
I get to listen to this. Reaction video.
Yeah, reaction video. So Pip basically comes to me and says, and this isn't the day of the interview. This is like the week of the interview. She goes, you're going to pull it back, T. You're going to pull it back. You're not going to do your shenanigans. You're going to keep it perfectly respectable and perfectly professional because we are going on the League of Steam. We can't afford to fuck this up. And
watch yourself.
I mean, it was for the entire week.
I don't know if it was quite like that.
It was.
Might have felt like that.
She was like, look, you got to watch yourself. You got to watch yourself. You tend to go off the cuff a little too much. You got to watch yourself. I said, okay, honey, I'll pull it back. I promise. I'll pull it back.
Be on my best behavior.
Best behavior. She said that overnight. We're talking even right up to the point of the interview. She was like, before we even went live, Pip was like, what are you going to be? And I went, best behavior, hon. I promise. And we're sitting there, and it's like, the mics go live, and I mean, I can feel my heart about to pound out of my chest. And Pip's on like, okay. Mics go live. Pip, T, are you there? It's like, well, hi everybody, and like, oh, hey, hi, how you doing? And it's great to have you on. It's like, oh, it's great to be on.
Hi, Tiger.
And see you, Tiger. Take care. Thank you for hanging out with us on the stream. And it's all very professional. It's all very polished. And Pip's looking at she's actually looking at me like this. And I'm like,
I think you're making them.
No,
Mountain out of
you
the
were.
molehill.
No, you were giving me the look. And then suddenly we hear this. And I went, I'm sorry, what was that? And for like a few seconds, nobody said anything on the mics. And then we hear this voice, and I think it was probably Glenn. It was probably Glenn Friend, who said, so that was an alcoholic beverage? And I went, oh, wait, are you guys having beer? I went, Pip, what do you want? And Pip's like, I'll have a wine. And I went, great. They're laughing. We're laughing. I come back with I pop my beer on the mic, and I was like, they were like, man, we thought we had really screwed up this interview. And we're like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, you guys are, Nurgle, we didn't know that. But these were then the words of the folks from League of Steam. They're like, well, you guys are like Pip Ballantyne and T. Morris. You guys are the Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences. You guys are serious. You guys are like professional authors. And we were like, fuck that. We're having a beer and some wine. Let's do it. And it was and they are howling at this point. And not only at that end of the interview were they so happy, it was at what was going to be eventually become Stan Lee's Kamikaze.
Yeah, that's right. We got to hang out with them.
We
went to dinner at Little Japan, I think it was.
Little Japan,
Oh,
but they invited us. They said, we saw that you guys were going to be at LA. We're going to be at Blog World and that. Do you guys want to come and hang out at the booth? And we were like, sure thing. And we hung out with them for the entire day. And they could not. So we have
good people.
Really good people from League of Steam. All right. Now let's talk about Heat.
I'll go get a wine.
Yeah. So I actually saw. A lot of people don't know this about Heat. That movie tanked at the box office. It was considered a box office failure. Yeah. I mean, we're talking. It cost like $30 or $40 million to make, and they made like $5 million. And yet, it's a bit like the movie The Thing. In retrospect, people look back at that movie. They look back on Heat and they go, "This movie is awesome." And it was
95.
Yeah, it was directed by Michael Mann, the same guy who created Miami Vice.
Okay.
And it was the first time that Pacino and De Niro were ever on screen together. They had been in movies together. They were in The Godfather Part 2, but they were never in the same scene together. De Niro was always in the flashbacks.
That's right. Yeah.
And Michael was present day. It was a huge flop. But now people look back at the movie, and any time you...
I remember enjoying it a lot. I'm not sure why it flopped.
Oh, we went to go see it as a family. My brother was at college at the time.
Oh, it was opposite Jumanji and Toy Story.
That would do it. No, no. Even Toy Story was a box office failure. But it made its money back. But what happened, Steampunk Rick is right, it did really well on video. And
yeah, I think that's when I saw it, actually.
And there was another movie that happened with. The movie was called FX, Murder by Illusion. And it starred an Australian actor named Brian Brown. And in it, he played a special effects wizard who was hired by the government to off a mob boss. Tie back to the mob, all right? And it flopped at the box office, but then when it was released on video, people lost their minds over it. Then they made FX2, and that was a train wreck. That was a terrible film. But
apparently
Heat
was highly influential in Grand Theft Auto 3.
I could see that.
And there was a book.
Yeah.
No, Michael Mann is doing a Heat prequel novel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
It hasn't come out yet, but
But I mean,
interesting.
that shows you the sting. And I've told Pip this before. The movie is brilliant. The movie is just an amazing experience. The movie Heat. But when you get to that scene where Pacino and De Niro are finally on screen for the first time together, and it's that coffee house scene. They're in the diner together.
Oh yeah.
And you see Pacino, and it's Pacino. It's Pacino. And it's Pacino, and he's doing. And meanwhile, across the way, there's De Niro. And that's about the most you get out of it. There's a scene in Heat where Val Kilmer does a reload and retreat that's shown to soldiers as good cover and reload best practice.
Oh really?
You know what, Marv? Every time I know the scene you're talking about, and I'm like, that's what I'm trying to do in the Crucible every time I go in. I'm like, get my inner Kilmer on. Get my inner Kilmer on. Okay, here we go. But that freaking scene where De Niro and Pacino are together, it just shows you two actors that really understand the craft, but they approach it from two entirely different
But I do
POVs.
hear that they are two actors with rather large egos, and at the time, they kind of clashed a bit.
They did clash a bit, but whatever.
They've sorted it out.
I think they've
since then,
sorted it out. Yeah, because at one point, fast forward a few decades, and there's a terrific film, another great mob film called it's directed by Scorsese, and it was called The Irishman. It's got a subtitle, So I Hear You Paint Houses.
Yeah.
And it is the Lord of the Rings of mafia films. It's like 3.5 hours long, but it's fantastic. And Scorsese was working with De Niro, and Scorsese says, "Who do you think I can get to play?
Gotti.
No, not Gotti.
Not Gotti. Buried under the.
Oh my God. Not Gotti. The guy who got off. Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa. And De Niro says, "Why don't you call Al Pacino?
Call Al.
Call Al. Just give Al a call." And he said, "I've never worked with him, Bobby." And he goes, "You love him. You love him. He's a good guy." And apparently he and Al Pacino were like bosom buddies through the whole thing. Well, they had to be. But apparently whatever tensions were between Pacino and De Niro, they got over it pretty quickly.
I bet that maybe they enjoyed the finished product.
I think they did. Maybe
they did.
And but I can hear De Niro going, Marty, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Marty. You'll love that. But
I mean, gangster movies and those sort of things just have their own inbuilt conflicts, so they are inherently easy and interesting to make things about. But The Sopranos goes deeper, and because it's just such a long form, I mean, you've got 12... How many hours? How many episodes?
Oh, well, okay, so you get 12 episodes a season, maybe?
Yeah, maybe 12 episodes.
So if it's 12 episodes, so you're talking about at least 13 to 14 hours per season, and you've got 6 seasons. So that's literally over 70 to 8. That's like 70 to 8.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time with
84 hours. 84 hours of content. 84 hours of just rock solid dialogue, rock solid action. It's phenomenal. But that's the other thing you notice though about the gangster genre to begin with. I think The Sopranos was truly a game changer, because before The Sopranos, you either had the super intense crime dramas like Heat, and even Heat delved into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Even Heat delved into that. Val Kilmer wanted to have the good life, and so did De Niro's character, but they kept going back to the gig. They kept going back to the job. A lot of people forget it. People remember Heat for the diner scene, but what a lot of people forget about in Heat is there's another great scene with Val Kilmer where he basically calls Ashley Judd and says, "I made it out. I need to see you." And he gets out of the. She's standing on the balcony. The government's behind her, and they're waiting to jump on him. And he gets out of the taxi cab. He turns around. His face is a little messed up because they had to do some emergency surgery on him. And he looks up at her, and he manages a smile, and she smiles at him. And then the camera cuts to her hands, and she does this. She just goes, and it was that moment. Yeah, exactly, nerd girl. She gives that moment of like, this is it.
Yeah.
And and you see that Val Kilmer, way underrated as an actor. Way underrated as an actor, because you just see his entire face just fall, and then he turns around and he just asks the randos, "You got a good place?" "Yeah, he got shot." "That's right, he got shot in the neck." And he turns around and he asks the guys behind him, "You know a place where I can get a bite to eat?" And it's that moment. That moment. She could have walked away free and clear. And instead, she just gives him the no clear. And it's the same, you see a lot of those dynamics in The Sopranos that you see in Heat. It's just stretched out across 6 seasons.
Yeah.
But when you think about the mob movies before then, movies like Layer Cake, movies like Snatch, where they're either played for really intense crime dramas or over the top laughs. But in The Sopranos, you get to know all of these characters.
You never get to see a mob boss feeding ducks in his pool.
You never get to see a mob boss completely go mental. Or better yet, you never see a mob boss, with the exception of De Niro in the movie Analyze This, you never see a mob boss in therapy talking about his feelings or having really effed up dreams.
I think Analyze This came after that.
It did.
I think it was entirely, yeah.
But the magic of The Sopranos, I really think, is not necessarily when you see them playing the mob tropes.
Yeah.
But when they play against those mob tropes and you get to know these characters.
Yeah.
Right now, just so you know where we are in the Sopranos lore, yes, we know how it ends. Yes, we have opinions on that. But we're at that point where it's
near the end of season 4.
5.
No, 5, yeah. Actually, we're closing in on the end.
And let's see, Buscemi has decided he doesn't want to, even though he's done everything right, and talk about a heartbreaker. You do everything right,
but then you got a little taste of the.
You got a little taste of the high life, and then Buscemi's like, I don't want to do this masseuse crap. I want to get back into the game. And Chrissy's fiance, Adriana, she's starting to slip into helping the feds. So she's not long for this world, and then there's a lot happening in The Sopranos. And Tony and Carmilla are separated right now. Mm-hmm. They're separated. Mm-hmm. I will always love Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels for introducing me to Vinnie Jones.
Oh, Vinnie Jones.
Was Vinnie Jones Bricktop?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's all. I don't think he's acting. He was known for being a bit of a hard ass.
Yeah.
A long time before he got into acting. I think he actually went to prison for a bit.
And see, I remember Vinnie Jones from Snatch. Since along the side of your weapons it says replica, and along mine it says Desert Eagle. Right now your balls are in your throats, so you can kindly fuck off.
Oh, he didn't go to prison. He was actually a soccer player, would you believe it? He's more like a...
Yes! Oh, come on. You could see that guy being a soccer player. Absolutely.
I don't know. He looked more like a football player. Like a rugby player.
He'd be more like a rugby player, yeah.
But he was known for,
getting
into trouble.
And I will say this, nerd girl. I missed that Guy Ritchie. I did enjoy Guy Ritchie's treatment of Sherlock Holmes. There was no reason Guy Ritchie should have been directing a King Arthur epic. That was a train wreck from frame one moving forward. I miss the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I miss Guy Ritchie when he made Snatch. Those movies are just.
Well, you know what? Isn't The Gentleman? Isn't that him?
I heard The Gentleman was supposed to be a return to form for him.
Actually, that's on HBO as well. We could watch that.
We should watch that. So, and for anyone joining us, this is the post show of the Shared Desk. Normally, we talk about publishing things. We talk about publishing stuff. We talk about we talk about things happening in the publishing industry. And right now, we're talking. This is the post show where we just kind of freeform it, and we just enjoy the kicking back and just chatting with all of you. Oh, that's right. No, he also did the Man from U.N.C.L.E. That was Guy
That's
Ritchie.
true. Now, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. we enjoyed up to a point.
We loved it up to the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was odd.
Where somebody tapped the shoulder on Guy Ritchie and said, "Dude, you need to wrap this up."
And he's like, "But I'm at the end. I'm doing the big, the big attack." Well, just make it snappy.
Make it snappy, and then, I mean, the best scenes.
He did like a montage of the final assault.
Yeah,
and
it made no sense whatsoever. It made no. I mean, but the thing was, one, Henry Cavill was phenomenal as Napoleon Solo.
Yeah.
I loved Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer was great as Ivan. But to have I think, now to me, what I felt like the movie needed more of was when Cavill and Hammer are bickering at each other. And in between them, you look behind them, and the guy is like on fire, and he's flailing around.
And they're just like...
And then they're going at it like an old married couple. Then they pause, and they look, and he's like back on the gurney. He's burning up. And I mean, the movie needed more of that. But...
Yeah.
But I really did enjoy The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Yeah, there was some hullabaloo that apparently Armie Hammer went on to Twitter, and he basically told people to DM him script ideas for a second movie so that he could start harassing Guy Ritchie. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think Henry Cavill has moved on. I think he's got his plate full right now with The Witcher.
He's got a lot of stuff doing. He's also got a doggo now that
he's got a beautiful doggo. He's got a beautiful doggo. But right now, Chad, for those of you who are just joining us, yes, my wife and I are published authors. We not only are known for writing nonfiction, but a lot of people know us for this series right here. This is The Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences, written by myself and my wife. She gets top billing because B, you always hit B before you hit M in the bookstores.
That's why you married me.
That's why I married her, baby. But yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. Nerd Girl basically said the two of them have a bromance going on. Do you need a So yeah, so we're just talking about as we were talking about during the podcast. And if you want to hear the final edited version of the podcast, that's going to be appearing on theshareddesk.com, hopefully sometime this week. This will be an easy edit for you. You just got to drop this in, drop that out, bing, boom, and you're done.
Bing, boom.
Bada bing, and you're done.
Bada bing.
But in our segment called Writers Off the Clock, we were talking about The Sopranos, and it got people talking about gangster movies. So
apparently, but after we watched Fear City,
okay,
we looked into what the mob's doing these days, and
Not
apparently Philadelphia is the only place that they're really.
Yeah. Philadelphia.
It's amazing. I mean, technology really has put the kibosh on. I mean, organized crime is much harder to do.
Much harder, yeah.
When your phones. I mean, I suppose they can still use burner phones, but it's just a lot more difficult to run the numbers racket.
Exactly. I mean, so basically, Chad, if you don't know that, because I know we talked about it, and I know I've mentioned it before. I bet it's all Aura's fault.
Oh, you're saying Aura's locked up,
right? You know what? If there was, I tell you what, Marv, if there was anybody in Twitch that was mobbed up, it'd be Aura. And come on, look at him. First off, one, he's got the Philadelphia attitude of like, look, if you don't like what I'm saying, I'm just going to shiv you when you last see and expect them. And then, of course, he's got Layla. And if he's got Layla behind him, then, you've got basically a guy who's ready to shiv you, and he's got Layla. So what are you going to do? Fuck! That's my horror impersonation, by the way. Not bad. Has a pit. Yep. But, so there's a great documentary on Netflix.
Oh, Buffalo as well. Buffalo?
I could see that. Well, Buffalo's kind of like Jersey Light. Buffalo's Jersey Light. But you're but on Netflix there's a terrific documentary. It's a 3-part docudrama series. Well, not drama series, but it's a documentary series, and it's called Fear City: The Mob v. New York. And it was about the takedown of the Italian mafia in New York in the 70s. And it's just freaking brilliant because they basically build all the... I would say 70% of the documentary is all recordings that they made and this is the first time they'd ever thought about using the RICO Act and doing recordings and things like that. Stuff that you watch in mob stuff now, and you're like, oh, here we go with the recorder trope, with wiring offices and things like that. But this is the genesis of that. This was when the FBI was like, yeah, we need to start doing this. And it opens with that, and I know I've done it before on stream, but there was a, it opens with the recording of this guy. Is that cocksucker on the phone? Put him. Is that cocksucker there? Put him on. And then you hear this guy go, you listen to me now, you motherfucker. If I don't get that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow, tell that guy I'm going to break every bone in his motherfucking body. I swear to my kids.
I just love how all the thing is, all those asterisks that just got used.
Yeah, I know, right? I swear to my... It's that part when he goes, I swear to my kids. I turned to Pip and I said, I'm going to love this documentary. And it was. It was pretty... The thing that's the most heartbreaking, though, in Fear City, Rudy Giuliani shows up.
Oh, young Rudy Giuliani.
No, older Giuliani, where he's talking about younger Giuliani.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And you're going, dude, what happened to you? I mean, somebody once said the younger Giuliani that took down the mob, he'd be going after older Giuliani in today's day.
It was one of the guys that used to work with him in the DA's office, I think. He was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Rudy. Not Rudy in the hotel room.
Not that Rudy. No, not that Rudy. I'm sorry, not that Rudy Marvinsky. Not that one. Not that one. By the way, speaking of Borat, I just want to do real quick. Shout out to Dr. Lupo, who probably had the most amazing week ever. To go from playing Among Us with AOC at the beginning of the week and then ending the week streaming with Sacha Baron Cohen. He's probably just lying in bed going,
what a strange week, and strangely...
I can just picture Ben lying in bed and Sam saying, Ben, are you okay? And he just says, did last week really happen? Because, I mean...
Was that a fever dream I had?
I was in a fever dream, right? I mean... Because at one point, Sacha Baron Cohen interviews Lupo. And what's great is that props to Sacha Baron Cohen. If you haven't seen it, it's on Lupo's Twitter. You've got to watch it. It is absolutely ridiculously funny. But what happens is you've got Lupo, and if you've ever seen Dr. Lupo's setup chat, it is brilliant. It's like an underground Bond layer. I mean, he's got monitors everywhere. He's got the lights. It's awesome. But when they had Borat streaming with him live, they had Borat in his native country. So you saw all these computers from the 80s surrounding Borat. The video was sketchy and staticky, and it was Sacha Baron Cohen more or less in his underwear. And at one point he says to Lupo, so how do you become so famous in streaming, Dr. Lupo? And he goes, well, I was playing a solo game in Fortnite, and that's how I met Ninja. And he goes, so you were playing video games, you were playing by yourself. That's what you're saying. You were playing by yourself. You're playing with yourself while streaming. Playing with yourself while streaming. And you see Lupo just going, No. I think there's a problem in the connection. So you playing with yourself when streaming, and that's when you meet friend, right? You make friends while playing with yourself while streaming. And I don't know how much Ben was actually getting tongue-tied and how much of it was him just hamming it up for the camera. But goddamn, that was some primo content. And you can watch it right now on Lupo's stream. It is a freaking riot.
I feel like I need a cup of tea.
Hey, Godzilla, how are you? Yeah, whip it out and meet friend. Yes.
Whip it out and meet friend.
So you're ninja. You are ninja. You are silent killer. And he goes, no. I think you're mixing me up with another streamer. And it just snowballs from there. And it's so true shucks. Wow, I'm seeing all kinds of great people in stream today.
Goodness.
How you doing? We're actually, so we've kind of de-evolved. Just so you all know, you're catching the post show of the podcast that my wife and I record together. This is the Shared Desk, which is a writer's podcast. But we also talk about other issues of content creation and everything. We just finished a show about ACX, and Audible, and that was fun. That's going to be on the shareddesk.com sometime this week. Right now, we're in the post show where we kind of free form it. We talk with chat. So if you got any questions about us or any questions about writing, we were originally talking about mob movies, and now we've de-evolved and talking about Borat and his stream with Dr. Lupo.
Well, I do need a cup of tea. I can feel and I've got to go and make bread. I go make bread.
Oh, we got you go make bread now.
Wife go make bread.
Wife is going to need my loaf. Knife is going to need my loaf.
Knife is going to need.
Wife is going to need my loaf. There you go. High five. Oh my God. Okay.
Lord.
I'll wrap it up then. You go ahead, baby. I'll wrap it up with stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna go need loaf.
Go need my loaf. Love you, wife. Can I stroke pussy while you leave? Yeah. High five.
You're very funny. I put my hair up so I don't get the 1,000 of hairs in my.
I appreciate that.
Life.
Love you, darling.
All right.
All right.
You can put the cat here. Cat can talk.
Cat can talk. Cat can talk. Yeah.
No other cat there.
No.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. You're coming back. You're going to be on again in a minute.
That's what I'm going to wrap it up with. So, first off, I want to say hey to Goddessilla. If you're not following her chat, go on ahead and please give her a follow. Goddessilla apparently found me through Twitch for Dummies, and I missed her first. I missed a stream. I don't know if it was Goddess's first stream, but I'm gonna see if I can't catch her next stream. Goddess, how was that stream of yours? Did it go well? I saw your I saw the story. That was the word I was looking for. The story that you dropped in IG. So that was nice. But I wanted to hear how it helped you out, and or rather what you learned from that stream, and if everything worked it out. And hi, True Shucks. Now, True, again, somebody else that if you're not following, got to make sure you follow her as well. Oh, look at that nerd girl gifting a sub to True Shucks. How you doing there, True? Last time I saw it, True, you were doing some Dead by Daylight. The closest I've come to Dead by Daylight, though, I'm doing a game now called Phasmophobia on Thursday nights, and they really should just make that. We should retitle that "T Screams Like a Banshee" because yeesh, I tend to scream pretty hard during that. So anyway, Chad, yes, I will be back. I will be back in about an hour and a half. We will be back. It's going to be me, Nick, Brandon, and it will also be Steve the Blind Gamer Sailor, who wanted to talk about, we wanted to talk about in the last happy hour from the tower, we wanted to talk about the upcoming Beyond Light, but we got sidetracked and we started talking about other stuff. We started talking about the game development industry. We started talking about the demands of the game development industry, the demands for content, and we started talking about all this kind of stuff. So Steve Saylor will be back today at 5 o'clock. So if you want to come in and talk about Destiny Beyond Light, or if you are Destiny curious and you want to come on in. Find out more about Destiny Beyond Light. Find out more about Destiny. The show is Happy Hour from the Tower over at happyhourfromthetower.com. But at 5 o'clock Eastern here on this channel, because it is pouring down rain and we couldn't do the Fireside Lore, today is going to be an entire day of podcast goodness. So there you go. Worried about hand cannons. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like you have concerns with them, Marv. Note said concerns and bring them into the discussion at 5 o'clock. We'd love to do that and talk about that. So let me backtrack a bit. So it was great. You played Spyro the Dragon, was stuck on a level for a while. Then you played Minecraft with the hubby. Nicely done, Goddess. Nicely done. Yeah, my only connection with Spyro was that was the first game that my kid and I played together. Our daughter, Sunny, she actually got me back into Destiny. Sorry. She got me back into video gaming, and my return to video games for me was actually BioShock Infinite on the Xbox, and then it was Destiny on PS4. But together, my kid and I played Skylanders, and it was fun. It was also a little bit of a challenge because at the time she was 6, and she didn't quite understand when she wanted to go one way. And the smartest thing I think that they ever did with Skylanders, the game where you put on the figurines and stuff like that, was that they tethered you. So you couldn't go too far away from your teammate. But Sonny still had some things to learn back then about teamwork. But now on Monday nights, my daughter and I get together and we play the original Destiny on PS4 because she's been doing Destiny 2 for a while, but she never played the original Destiny. So now we're playing Destiny 2 together, and it's now me, Thermal, and Sonny. And Thermal has really become Thermal Wolf, aka Brandon. You'll see him during the podcast today. He's kind of become a fixture on this channel now, because on Mondays he plays with me and Sonny, which is always fun. But Friday nights, and you're going to see this next week. I'm going to have to make 2 highlight reels. This past Friday, Brandon joined my wife in Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is a team-based fire team, basically a fire team version of the Ghost of Tsushima. And watching my wife not only play alongside but keep up with Brandon, who is a wicked good gamer, that was an absolute riot to watch. And I said to Pip, I got to make an entirely new highlight reel just highlighting this. It was crazy entertaining. So if you want to, and I said to Brandon, I said, we got to make this a weekly thing. And he's like, oh yeah, we do. or as my wife called it, the return of the Bunny Brigade. It was a hoot. It was a hoot. And don't worry, there will be a highlight reel coming very soon. And again, Goddess, I do want to reiterate what I said in my Instagram messages, which, by the way, you have a new one waiting for you, just so you know. But if you ever have any questions, and this goes for everybody in chat, if any of you have any questions about streaming, about podcasting, about even about Discord, feel free to ask in stream. As you all know, I'm the guy that wrote this. This is the first edition, and these post-it notes are all the ideas I have for the second edition. And I'm still making notes right up to this day, so we'll just see what happens. But yeah, I'm the guy that wrote Twitch for Dummies. I'm also the guy that wrote Podcasting for Dummies, and I also wrote Discord for Dummies. So if you all have any questions about this stuff, if you got questions about Destiny, ask the Big Marvinsky. You got questions about streaming, you got a question about Discord or otherwise. So you got the trifecta, don't you? Yeah, Shadow. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, Shadow. But if you have questions after reading the book, by all means, feel free to ask. I try to make this stream an AMA kind of stream, not just about podcasting, Twitch, or Discord, but also about writing, about the publishing industry. And that's what the Shared Desk right here, that's what the Shared Desk is all about. So I just wanted to go ahead and again say to everybody, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Better send me questions for the second edition. You're absolutely right, True. I'm going to be broadening the scope a bit. I mean, already there are some people that I interviewed for the first Twitch for Dummies that unfortunately have stopped streaming. So we're oh, okay. Thank you for reminding me, Jen. I didn't realize that Shadow's Edge was your brewmistress, moniker. Got it. Thank you. And again, thank you, Jen. But yeah, of course, Drew. I know right now there are some people who have stopped streaming since writing Twitch for Dummies. Some people have moved on to YouTube. Some people moved on to Facebook. Some people have left Twitch and come back. But you know, that's my intent, is that the people that I interviewed that are still streaming, particularly on Twitch, I'm going to come back to them and go, is there anything you wanted to change? Was there any new advice you wanted to give? And the one that I'm just going to knock wood, hope doesn't have any changes to make is Lupo's comments, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody had present company included, everybody had really terrific things to say about Twitch and gave great advice on what to do. But I know everyone's attitude kind of changes. I know for myself, the guy that wrote Twitch for Dummies and the guy who's on now, he's not the same guy. And what I mean by that is I've learned a lot just in the first year after Twitch for Dummies came out. It was crazy. No, true. That's the thing. It's not about growth. It's about what you've learned. And I'm sure you've learned a lot over, I've seen you change. I've seen the way you change. I mean, if my 2 cents means anything to you, True, I noticed that you're interacting more with your audience. That's one of the first things I noticed. I hadn't come to your stream in a while. Then when I came in, I saw you there, and you were just rapid fire, and I was like, wow, True, rock on. I mean, and that's the thing. If you're, in my opinion, it's not about how many people you have. It's not about the stats. It's about your journey as a streamer. And all of us have different journeys. All of us have different experiences, good, bad, ugly, and we learn from all of them. I think one of the biggest things I've learned since starting as a streamer over 3 years ago is I've seen other streamers really become reliant on their games. It has to be their games that hinge on their success. If a game is not producing content fast enough, or if the game's content isn't up to snuff, or something like that, and I think that puts a lot more pressure on the game itself than it does on you. And maybe it's a defense mechanism. I don't know, but I prefer that. I'll always be a Destiny streamer. I mean, I will always be a Destiny streamer in my heart, and that's the majority of my content. But I am not going to avoid other games and not approach them with the same kind of passion, because I'm the first one to say it. You're not going to watch me play Destiny for my wicked skills. You might watch me to see how much I've grown, sure, but as far as whether or not people are watching me because they think I'm a good player or not, that's just icing on the cake for me. You're going to come to my stream because you enjoy hanging out with me, hanging out with my wife, hanging out with GamerCat, who's off camera right now, because for this setup we don't have a GamerCat camera. Some people might want me to set up a GamerCat camera because, let's be honest, GamerCat right down here, he's the real star. But thank you, Mika. But I mean, that's what I've learned, is that if I don't feel like I'm having a good stream, chances are people in the audience also think that it's not a good stream. So I know that it's not about numbers. It's about your experience and your journey. So don't worry, True. I have to just but yeah, and thank you, Mika. Thank you very much for that. And that is true. That is true. And I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to walk people through the setup of like, hey, do you want a pet cam? Here's how you do a pet cam, and things like that. That's always fun. That's funny, Mika. That's funny. That's very cool. So okay. So as soon as I find out, and just so you all know, I've not been greenlit for a second edition of Twitch for Dummies. I'm crossing my fingers. I've talked to people at Wiley. They're not saying no, but no one has said yes. That's the big trick. That's the big trick. But I'm taking it one day at a time, one step at a time. It also is nice that I've got my experience here with Twitch, Soundtrack by Twitch. I could write an entire section just on Twitch, Soundtrack by Twitch. It's got a lot of. I've already turned in my first notes on it, and next week I'm probably going to turn in a new set of notes. But yeah, it's been an experience. But what I'm going to do right now is just take a quick break, hydrate myself, and then we're going to go on ahead and start prepping for our show, Happy Hour from the Tower. It is going to be episode. Let me find out real quick. The next one that's coming up, chat, is episode 67. And that is going to be our own take on, it's episode 67. And it's going to be our take on Beyond Light. Oh, it kind of is. Mwah! Thanks, buddy. What did you want to ask a question at? Was it a Destiny related question, or was it a question you want to ask now? Because I can stay on a few more minutes, Panic, if you want. If it's a microphone question, I can answer that because I know that you're. So Panic, everybody, is one of the big wieners from the the recent charity stream that I did. So yeah, it's been a good time. So did you want to wait on that? She writes a nice jingle, absolutely. So did you want to? I might show that off during the podcast. You never know. Panic, did you want to ask that question right now? Ooh, I would never say no to that. I would never say no to that, Jen. Never say no to that. Matter of fact, I might even have an adult beverage during the recording. Okay. How the frick frack can I get over the funk that keeps you from feeling like gaming because depresso espresso? Oh. That's a tough call. I wish I had an answer for that because I understand what you're talking about. Because yesterday I really wanted to, actually for a couple of days I've been wanting to get on. Hang on. Let's see if I can angle it. There we go. Turns out I got the cat cam after all. There you have it. So yeah, I've been having a very complicated week. I think that's the only way I can put it. I've been having a very complicated week. As many of you know, I've been struggling with depression on my own, mainly because I have been having a problem finding a new job. And this week I got kind of a kick in the teeth. I got something that the only way I can describe it, chat, is it felt like a low rent move on one of the employers, and that's the only way I can describe it. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was one of those positions where I was really optimistic about it. I was really optimistic about the opportunity. And no, Marv, it wasn't the opportunity that you heard me talk with that lady when you and I were chit-chatting on Discord. It was a different opportunity. It was exactly everything that I did at code.gov, and I was really excited about it. A friend of mine made introductions, submitted my resume on my behalf. I answered all the questions. Well, I got turned down for the job. But then the guy said, we don't want you to feel like we're turning you down outright. So we're comping you a 4-month subscription to our exclusive service. And it was basically a pitch for something that this organization does. And I was getting a 4-month free subscription for it. It had that multi-level marketing LuLaRoe kind of feel to it, you know what I mean? And it just pissed me off. I can talk to you about the Luna's Howl Not Forgotten grind while being terminally depressed. Oh. That was and then on top of that, on top of dealing with that, chat, I've also told you all that I've been having problems with my unemployment and getting my unemployment compensation. Well, there's another compensation program that I'm supposedly eligible for, and I went on ahead and applied for it, and I was told I couldn't apply for it because I had an active account. And I'm like, well, how's it active? Because quite honestly, you guys haven't paid me in 2 months. Actually coming up on 3 months. So yeah, it's been rough. And Pip, my better half, and why I called her my better half and why I love her so much, she said, go downstairs and play some video games. And I mean, we're talking, I just have to have I think 3, maybe 4 good solid, 3 solid good runs or 4 okay runs in the Infinite Forest, and I'll get everything. I'll get the Sparrow, I'll get the Ghost, and I'll get the ship. I'll be done. I'll be done with that. And I haven't gone in there. And it's mainly because I just have been really, really on the struggle bus with depression. And it sucks. It really sucks. And Marv was saying it was hard to do that as well. But sometimes what it really boils down to, panic, is just saying, all right, you know what, I'm gonna pull off this Band-Aid and just go for it. And I think it's harder to end gaming in that respect because I don't want it to end. No, it's okay. True. This is an all caps friendly place. So long as you're going back and forth. If all you're doing is in all caps from beginning to end, then I go, okay, take a breath. But the occasional all caps statement, we're good. I mean, and Kat, yeah, I am gonna be open about it. I'm gonna be open about it, and I'll chat about this because I think we should be talking about it. It's not anything to be really ashamed of, but the thing to remember is the panic that the game will always be there. The game will always be there, and even if it's like, well, I'm just afraid if I get in there and I'm going to start sucking wind at the game, then you know what? Reach out to some folks. I can't do a lot in the way of a service stream. I can't carry people through a dungeon. I'm not at that level. I play this game and I do the best I can, and that's the way I look at it. Now, if you're a beginner at the game, then you know what? Maybe that's something I can help you with. And I'd love to run with people. I love to run, especially when they're new at the game and go, oh, what is this? And I help them. I try to be the Sherpa that I didn't have when I started Destiny. When I started Destiny, I had a really rough Sherpa experience. And it took a lot to get over. And now when I come into contact with people who are new to the game, I make it a point. That I will be the Sherpa that I didn't have. And Marv is absolutely right. You deserve fun because you awesome. And for lack of a better word, true, I didn't have a Sherpa either. Even though I had a Sherpa. I had to, but I try very hard to help people out as much as I can. And that was the genesis of Blind Leads the Blind. And it wound up being one of the best things I ever did for this channel. Best thing I ever did for this channel. And don't ever, and that right there, and I didn't have Marv either. And I tell you something, I'll tell you a little something about Marv. Marv loves to consistently, ride me on this channel, but that's because he demands greatness from me. And I don't think I'm at greatness level yet, but I'm at pretty goodness. So I'll take pretty goodness over greatness, but I'm getting there. Hey, son, how are you? But I know that is the depression telling you don't deserve to have fun panic. I know that's the depression talking. And just, that's really hard to play behind. But don't you ever think, panic, you can't. Don't think you can't reach out and say, hey, T, do you have a slot open? Because if you got a slot open and you want, it doesn't matter. If you're starting off and you're still doing like the Red War, I'm okay. No, you didn't come at the wrong time, son. We're just chilling. I would be more than happy to do some missions in the Red War. Absolutely. It was no difference than when I ran the Red War with Will from No Kid Hungry. That was... Panic is Destiny curious, Marv. Panic is Destiny curious. And this is a great place to learn. Because I'm great with beginners. Marv is great at not just beginners, but also at the higher level stuff. And what I can't help you with, Marv can help you with. And then there's the building on that, you know. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's the thing, you know. That's the other thing too, is that she can either, you know, Panic can either wait and do some of the old stuff or just jump right in, and yeah, you know, and that's the thing. And you know, people know that about this stream too, Sun. That just because you're not into Destiny doesn't mean you can't come in and hang out. And that's what that's what I really want this stream to be. Not just a stream for people to where it's about Destiny, but also about just enjoying yourselves and having a good time here. All right, so speaking of Destiny, the Destiny talk will continue at 5 o'clock. We're going to be doing a live recording of episode 67 of Happy Hour from the Tower. If you don't know the podcast, it is happyhourfromthetower.com. You've got just over an hour to orient yourself with what we do on this channel. It's going to be me, it's going to be Steve the Blind Gamer Sailor, and it's going to be Nick Kelly and Brandon Kelly. We're going to get together, and we are going to talk about Beyond Light. And that'll be it. So thanks, everybody. It has been a blast hanging out with you all on this rainy day. I will see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.